Hello, everybody. I hope all is well with you. I am Demetra Kaye, and again, I hope you're having a great day. Um, we are going to be having a very interesting conversation here today. But first, you can find me on my own channel Sunday through sometimes Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Because sometimes I take Wednesdays off because I kind of get burnt out a little bit. But nevertheless, you can also find me always here on the African Diaspora News Channel on Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Again, Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. So today we're going to be talking about another confusing reparations bill introduced by Assemblyman Isaac Bryan out of Los Angeles, California. He's also the one who helped sabotage reparations for Black descendants of slavery in California. So this was actually brought to my attention, and I did a lot of research. I'm telling you, it from the surfaces is very confusing. I would say it's still kind of confusing. So I was working up to the very last moment before I came on here live to try to just get all the information I can. So hopefully we all are gonna learn something together because it's a lot of history involved with this. But nevertheless, while we're waiting for everybody to come on here, we do have an app called the African Diaspora News app, where you can get it from your local or your a Google or Apple Play Store on your phone, right? I said like you can go into a building. I don't know, maybe you can, but nevertheless, you can download it from your phone. Of course, it is Black owned, for us, by us, right? Again, the regular mainstream media is not going to tell us the full story about us. And even with this, right, they're not going to really delve into it the way we're going to delve into it. So again, as I always say, if you have Netflix, Hulu, or any of the other apps, Spotify, whatever it is, and you don't have this app, we can't keep complaining about, what they won't let us say and do when we don't participate and invest in the apps that we have created for ourselves, because ain't nobody gonna give it to us like us, right? So who's here so far? Sister Shirley, how you doing? Albert Chill, what's going on with you? Brother Troy, Fair Use, how you doing? Long time no see. Marshall, what's going on with you? And Brother Tyrone, he said, what's up? On your way to the dentist appointment, hopefully you don't have any cavities. Hopefully you don't. Ronnie, how you doing? Says my wise soul sister Atlanta in the house. Appreciate your great work and reporting. Well, you know what? I appreciate you for being here. It is much appreciated. All right, so I think I've tap danced long enough. As I said, there's a lot involved in the story that I'm about to share with you. So anyway, Carson, how you doing? And 23 Archer, what's going on with you? It was brought to my attention. In fact, this is the message that I got. And I'll let this person remain anonymous for right now. But nevertheless, the message says, good evening, Isaac. That's Isaac Bryan, right? He is assemblyman there in the 55th district of Los Angeles. So it says Isaac introduced what he's calling a direct cash payment reparations bill to buy off a small amount of Black people in the Ladera Heights, Baldwin Hills, Windsor Hills area, which is a part of the 1/3 of the district that is Black. Okay, it says that's what he brought up in a meeting he had in Ladera Heights a couple of months ago, and it was the only thing he said that the people who were in attendance were interested in. Now, it says it still doesn't outweigh the larger reparations bill he helped to block in 2024. We're going to get into that. Now, it says just means we have more education or educating to do, rather. And I was like, you're right. So I went to see exactly what he was talking about. So let's see, because I got a lot down here. Let's start with this. So for those of y'all who don't know, that is Assemblyman Isaac Bryan. Okay. Now he tweeted on the first of this month, which some people say it's Black History Month, right? So he says, today we're introducing a bill in California to give direct cash payments to families impacted by the Inglewood oil field. Okay. It's the largest environmental reparations effort ever to be introduced in South LA. The bill is AB 1661. Okay. So I went and looked it up. And basically, I'll let him tell you. So let's take him down real quick. So again, this is what he tweeted. Okay. It's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So this was also what he tweeted with that. Let me remove this banner just really quick. So he says a new bill in California will bring environmental reparations to South LA. In 2024, he is speaking of himself, passed legislation to close the Inglewood oil field by 2030 and force the oil companies to pay into a repair fund to the state. Now, AB 1661, also by Assemblyman Bryan, will require that the first $5 million, and I'm like, $5 million. $5 million. Anyway, the fund receives must be paid out in direct cash to families with children who have respiratory conditions. It's the single largest environmental reparations effort ever to be proposed in South LA. So again, basically, the bill says that they have to close the oil fields, and that oil field is Sentinel Park Resources, California. They have to be shutting down by 2030. Okay. And for every day that they operate under drawing out 15 barrels of oil, and I'm going to get into the oil fields in just a second, they have to pay $10,000 a day. So I'm assuming that's where this money is going to be coming from. It's not money coming from the city of Los Angeles or the state of California. This is money that will potentially come from these oil fields that are in violation. Okay, so where else? Let me take this down. Again, I got a lot of things going on here. What do I want to show you? Let's get into a little bit of history of this oil fields, because I was not really familiar with the dynamics of these oil fields that are in Los Angeles, California, right? So I put this thing together here. So it has the Inglewood oil fields, a century of extraction, harm, and the fight for closure. And it says from 1930s to 2026. That's what's being blocked right there. So basically, it started in the 1920s. It was oil discovered in Los Angeles, California, right? And it was unregulated to the point of they actually built the oil wells were there, right? The oil and the homes were built right next to them. They said in some cases it's 3 to 30 feet away from these oil fields, right? Oil and gas. So you can see there's homes, there was farmland, from the 1920s and the 50s. Then you go to the 1960s to the 2010s. It says peak production and community harm. So as you can see, there's benzene, there's methane, there's other toxic emissions coming from the drilling and things like that. It sounds like at one point in time, there was this leak that was discovered. And so with that, people started to get sick, right? Some people allegedly said that there's cancer and respiratory issues, which is why he said that people who had children in the Baldwin Hills, and it sounds like Inglewood area, with children with respiratory issues, those families can get a lion's share, and I say that like with strong quotations, of $5 million. I guess if it comes from the oil companies and things like that. So of course, people were protesting, saying, hey, we need to shut this down. Right now, think about this with me for just a second. When you think about reparations, what do you think about? You think about Black Americans, right? That's what most people think about. You don't think about other people, okay? Now, let's go here. So from the 2000s, 2020s today, right? So it's supposed to close by 2030, but it sounds like it was a lot of pushback from the oil and gas companies because they're like, well, we don't think we're causing any harm. There's really no proof, right? So there's all these conflicting stories about what's really going on. So again, the mandate came out. Sounds like it was signed, that particular one, by Gavin Newsom, and they're supposed to be closing, right? Okay, that's just kind of the history, because like a lot of y'all, I didn't know that there were oil fields like that in California. In fact, they said some of the oil fields, or the wells rather, like in Beverly Hills, because they're there too, but like in Beverly Hills and expansive parts of town, that they're covered up like by buildings, so you can't really see that they're there, because I guess when you have these multi-million-dollar homes, you don't want to see these oil rigs and wells and stuff, right? So they're covered up, they're disguised. But in the lower income, I guess, other neighborhoods, you can just outright see them. They have like restaurants by them, there's schools, you can see children walking by them and playing and all kind of things, right? Okay, so I just wanted to give you a history of that. I'm learning too. Now, from that tweet, there was a question that came to Isaac Bryan, which he kind of answered it. Okay. So this was the question. It was from the Queen of LA, right? And she says, is this bill specifically for descendants of U.S. slaves? And he says, it's a fund paid by the oil company to repair harm caused by them. I'm making sure it goes to the pockets of those who were redlined into living next to it. So he answered it, but he didn't answer it, right? It's like, huh? Answer the question, man. Is it for descendants of U.S. slavery? He did not answer that. So when I started to do this research, I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere because I know what these bills are about. Right now, there was 6 reparation bills signed by Gavin Newsom. Was no money on it or anything like that. One was an apology, a Crown Act, just the regular schmegler stuff that's not really specifically for Black American descendants of slavery, right? This is in California. So again, as I read a lot of those bills, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of othering going on in there. So with his response, he othered her. He didn't really specifically answer the question. So, okay, I'm like, well, who exactly is this reparations for, right? This alleged $5 million that's supposed to come out. So as I was doing research, looking at different videos and things like this, I'm going to show y'all just a small snippet of a video that's telling as to who was harmed by these oil companies, allegedly. I'm saying allegedly because it sounds like they're not trying to really say they're responsible, but here it goes.
There have been decades of complaints about environmental racism in some of LA's Black and brown communities. Those complaints now leading to a new study by LA County on the health impact of the Inglewood oil field.
All right. Did y'all hear what they said? I'm going to play it again so you can hear exactly who they said. Now, I put the date on there purposely because this was 4 years ago. Listen again. Oops, I meant to put that back up there.
There have been decades of complaints about environmental racism in some of LA's Black and brown communities. Those complaints now leading to a new study by LA County on the health impact of the Inglewood oil field.
All right. Said Black and brown. Now we getting somewhere, right? Black and brown is what they said. So right there, we're already debunking that it's specifically for Black descendants of slavery, right? Because these oil field, harms, I guess, people, everybody who lived there, that was affected by it with children with respiratory issues are privy to this $5 million that may or may not be showing up, right? Because even with that, he has got to still go, I think, on March 1st, during the legislative session to, argue this or present it or whatever it is. So it's just kind of a theory right now. It's nothing that's really passed, right, as far as this money is concerned. So as I continue to dig, for who are we talking about, right? I happened upon a story from Vice News. Okay, this story was actually 9 years ago, and the title of the story, so y'all can go look it up, says crude LA, California urban oil fields, right? Now you can see who was featured in this story. In fact, I didn't see any Black people featured in this story at all. Okay, y'all can go look it up. I didn't want to play the whole video. It was like 20 minutes long, but I watched it. And this guy up here, the white guy, with the baby and all of that, he lived in, I think it was Porterwood, the area where it was actually a gas leak, and they actually had to move. And so they were being asked, are y'all going to move back there? And he was like, well, if we, if they fixed it, yeah, we'll move back. Okay, this was 9 years ago. Now this one in the middle, Naleli Cabo, she's a youth environmental activist. She would talk about how she would, get headaches and things like that. Now the company in question was saying, well, we don't know how true that is, that she was getting headaches from the emissions that was going on. But as you can see, she's, Latina. And then this particular woman down here, it's in subtitles because she didn't speak English, but she was talking about, yeah, the smells come in the house and, we could smell it or this, that, and the other. And so I just wanted to illustrate that to you because when we think about reparations again, we think about Black people, Black Americans specifically, right? And as you can see, I've illustrated to you in these stories that there are white and brown Latino people. So let me remove that. Again, when you think about reparations, it's supposed to be for us, but I've showed you, is that really going to be for us? So to answer his question that Queen of LA asked and he didn't want to answer, the answer is no. That $5 million and $5 million, like if my child, because this is what it's supposed to be for, right, was harmed, respiratorily speaking, right, by these alleged emissions and methane and benzene or whatever it is, $5 million, that should be per person. So you mean we got to split $5 million if that comes, right? Because it's supposed to come from these oil companies. So the answer is no, it's not for descendants of slavery. Now, I also want to refresh y'all memory about something. Here we go.
This is Assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access here. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes. You put black folks in prisons, but
here
now
for
you
3
want to be a
strikes.
reparations person. But you won't vote for the bill.
We should.
I
we should
supported the
have a
bill all
conversation.
session.
Then bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations?
Bring it
I
up.
would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations
Bring
together.
it up. Bring it up.
You in, Bill?
Bring it up.
I didn't think so.
Bring it up. I'll vote for it. Bring it up. I'll vote for it.
So again, that was Assemblyman Isaac Bryan from the 55th District of LA, and he is actually being challenged by Brother Billion Godson. I did an interview with him on my channel a week ago, and I'm going to be talking with him even more. But that particular video was from August 31st, 2024, where he and the California Legislative Black Caucus were supposed to take reparations bills to that of Gavin Newsom because they were there in session, whether he was going to veto certain bills or pass them by signing them. But there he was caught red-handed per se by that of Assemblyman Bill Esseley. At the time he was an assemblyman. Now he's at the Trump administration working with ICE or something like that. But Bill was like, you guys got people out there expecting y'all to pass some put some reparation bills to Gavin Newsom, and you're not doing it. What's going on with that? And as you can see, Isaac Bryan was mad, right? He was mad. He was gaslighting and conflating because he got caught. So of course, later on, the chairwoman at the time, Lori Wilson, she made a statement saying, oh, well, we, actually decided that it's a multi-year study. That's why we didn't do it, right? Now, mind you, that came from a study that was commissioned. I think it was 2020. They decided they would do it. In a couple of years, it took them to study to see what would be done, right? And so from that, it came, there was a Freedmen Bureau that was supposed to, going into existence if the governor was going to pass it and there was going to be some funds. Well, of course, Gavin Newsom didn't even have a chance to do it because California Legislative Black Caucus and Isaac Bryan, right? They blocked the bills and said, well, Big Daddy Gavin, we won't even allow you to have to tell them no. So we just won't present them at all, right? So here he is talking about, let me see if did I take it down? Here we go. So there he is talking about a new bill in California will bring environmental reparations to South LA. It's like, who you think you fooling? Who you think you fooling? You didn't even want to bring reparations to the people who actually deserve it right now. I'm not saying the people who were harmed allegedly by these oil wells and things like that don't deserve it, but you didn't even want to do it for descendants of slavery there in California. Now you keep coming. See, that's what he does. He keeps coming up with all these bills, right? He got this bill for that, this bill for that. He even had one, I believe it got vetoed, last year, to say that Black descendants of slavery in California, they can have, I guess, first crack at admissions into California universities and things. And it's like, that wasn't going to pass because we saw Edward Blum go around to the Supreme Court with the Asian students mad because they thought that Black students were getting preferential treatment due to affirmative action, right? So the Supreme Court struck that component down. of the educational component of affirmative action. So to see him talking about, oh, we're going to do this reparations bill to allow, descendants of slavery in California to get first crack at admissions. But then I read the bill. The bill said others as well. So it wasn't just for Black Californians, it was for others. But it didn't pass because they knew it wasn't going to pass, because you can't do that per the Supreme Court. So here he comes with all these bills. He's making up all this stuff. And like the message that I got saying, hey, he's just trying to appease people, right? Now, will this actually pass? I think it probably will, because it's only $5 million, and it's not just to Black people. It's, as I showed you, it looks like a lot of other people. Now, will some Black people get some? Yeah, I'm sure. $5 million? Are you crazy? I wouldn't even go on Twitter and tell nobody that I'm fighting for $5 million for a whole bunch of people to split up. What is it going to be, like $10 or whatever, whatever it is at the end of the day? Like, that ain't no flex. But see, the problem is, as I talked about this yesterday, they know we ain't going to read these bills. That doesn't that look really good? On the surface, that looks good. I'm like, oh, because most people who see that, oh my God, it was reparations. But we know reparations means to repair, right? Now, lately we've been talking about it, and even from the plantation, right? Reparations, 48 years in the mule. But we've heard of reparations for everybody, whether it's the Japanese, whether it's the Jewish community, and God knows whoever else, right? They're able to get reparations. So if you look at that, you think, well, bet you by golly, wow, I think we about to be getting something. We may be getting some reparations. It looks good. But then when he's asked about it, and she was very outright, is this bill specifically for descendants of U.S. slaves? He did a whole little tap dance, had his tap shoes on. It's a fun paid by the oil companies to repair harm caused by them. I'm making sure it goes to the pockets of those who were redlined into living next to it. The answer is hell no. It's not for U.S. slaves, right? So all that looks good. But again, they know most people ain't going to look into it and read it. He had to, as Maxine said, the audacity to get on to X and put that up there. Like, what was the point to all of that? Especially if you weren't going to answer the questions, and doggone well, you see, that's very deceptive, in my opinion. It's very deceptive to use the word reparations, especially since it's a hot ticket item, not just in California, but all over the United States. And you use that word, and some people say, on the first day of Black History Month, you make this announcement when it's not specifically for Black Californians. It's very deceptive. But that's how these politicians get by deceiving people. And this is no shade to us. When I say us, I mean collectively, right? That won't read. All you got to do is put in AB 1661 in Google, and it'll come up. It'll take you exactly to the website. It'll tell you who sponsored the bill. It'll tell you who voted yes and sponsored yes and no and all of that, and the text, the summary. It'll tell you everything, the history of it, where it is now, if it's passed, whether it's vetoed. Right now, that particular part of the bill he's talking about, he's got to go before the floor still in March. But he didn't say that. He didn't say, oh, I still got to talk up on that part of the bill. He didn't say that. He made it seem like, oh, it's on the way. And you got to shake the oil companies down first. Now, again, a lot of that was confusing. So I'm like, so is the money coming from the fines by the oil companies? Because again, if they produce under 15 barrels a day, then they have to pay $10,000 a day. So I'm not sure myself where the money is coming from. I think we've deduced it to where it's not coming from the state of California, because I had a conversation with the person who sent this to me, and he's like, no, So the one solution that I have, and I had the same solution yesterday, I'm going to put this up. Research and vote accordingly. Do some research. We have got to stop being emotional. And I'm glad that the Queen of LA flat out asked him, all right, who this for? Right? She started with a question. And then the rest of us is like, oh, when I say us, I mean me. I'm going to go digging, right? Well, what does this mean? It don't mean nothing. I mean, $5 million ain't nothing. Just keep it real, right? You talking about you potentially harm somebody. And mind you, in a lot of cases, those oil companies just didn't sit there. Like they didn't say, oh, okay, I'm here. They were allowed to do it, even though it was regulated poorly. They still were allowed to do it, even to this day. And it sounds like it took Gavin Newsom a while to decide that he was going to take action on making them close it up. Now, of course, in our communities, this type of stuff isn't rare. We've heard of cancer clusters, whether they come from trash dumps or toxic waste sites or whatever. It's I don't want to say it's normal because it's not right, but we deal with those things in our community. And so they knew these oil rigs were doing those things, may or may not. And they're like, and I'm asking myself why. Something tells me that, those oil companies weren't doing it for free, right? To make them close up. I'm sure it's going to cost somebody a lot of money because they make a lot of money. And they said at one point in time, those oil fields were amongst the largest producers of oil in the world, right there in Los Angeles, California. So to make them close up by 2030, yeah, it's going to cost somebody a lot of money. But it's not the first time that they prioritize money over people. Now, Mr. Isaac Bryan is up for re-election in November, right? The midterm elections, as a lot of people are. And I've illustrated quite a bit, and I'm going to continue to illustrate the foolishness of Isaac Bryan, because he pretends like he's for Black folks and this, that, and the other. But y'all could go to any of his social media pages and you'll see him running around like a chicken with his head cut off for illegal immigrants all day long. That's what he is doing now. In fact, that's what a lot of these Black politicians are doing. They are running around championing illegal immigration. I'm not talking about regular immigrants. I'm talking about illegal immigration, right? They fight ICE and want ICE to be defunded and, ICE out of LA and all this other stuff. But it's like, but you're going to want Black people to show up to vote for you. So again, if you live in the 55th district there in Los Angeles, look at all the other options. Brother Billion Godson, Billion is his name. Billion Godson, he is running, and he is part of Africa Town Coalition, and they are boots on the ground. This ain't a brother that's just talking like Isaac Bryan and pretending. Nah, this brother, he is in the trenches, helping people throughout LA, that area, and really all over, right? Whether it's food drives, just whatever it is, just helping people, talking to people, informing people. Those are the type of people that you want to vote into office. But Isaac Bryan, especially that stunt that he and his homies pulled there in 2024 by sabotaging reparations, he got to go. He got to go. And let him go find something else to do. Maybe he needs to be a snake oil salesman or something. I don't know. But as far as, saying that he's helping people, he's not. He's probably helping people, but is he helping Black folks, Black, people in his district? A lot of them will say no. And a lot of them don't even know that he did that along with the California Legislative Black Caucus, that he sabotaged reparations. So I see groups like Africa Town Coalition, wherever they are, whether it's a parade, MLK parade, or whatever it is, any event, they're letting people know. Did you know that he or she, they sabotage reparations? They'll be like, they did? I didn't know. Right? So they're out there letting people know, hey, you could have had a bag. But Isaac Bryan and his homies took it upon themselves to say it's a multi-year study. In fact, Gavin said, well, we don't have the money. But they were all right when they was thinking about giving $2.6 billion to undocumented people, no matter what their status was, for healthcare. They were on board with that. But they ain't got the money to right a wrong that happened to Black Californians who were descendants of slavery. And some people say, well, there wasn't no slavery in California. Sure it was. There was. And, and they were complicit in people who brought their slaves and a whole host of things. And it's not just for slavery. It's Jim Crow, redlining, all the things you can think of that Black folks deal with even to this day. At one point in time, they were talking about doing something with the child support system because it is said that child support is racist. in that it disproportionately affects Black men. Because a lot, especially in California, right? Because a lot of times they don't really look at the income. And in a lot of cases, they're like, okay, well, half your income, right? And then you get all these arrears and things like that built up because you just can't afford to pay it because it's not administered fairly in a lot of cases. So they were talking about trying to repair that for Black men, but I ain't heard nothing else about that. Something tells me that's going to go in the trash can with the other reparations bill. But anyway, so yeah, vote accordingly. Do your research and vote accordingly because these people mean to be deceptive and confusing. And that's the name of the game. Be confusing. That way, when they see, the signs on the street or the fences, or they hear the commercials, whether it's on TV or the radio, person listening, if they're going to vote, well, it's the name That name sounds familiar to me. Because I'm sure Isaac Bryan got a lot of money. Sure, his war chest for his campaign is huge, right? Probably got a lot of people pouring into it. Yeah, we want you in there because I'm also hearing he does a lot of bidding for developers and letting them develop in our residential areas, pushing, predominantly Black residents out. And of course, when that stuff happens, the rents go through the roof and they can't afford to live there. So it's like, yeah, do your research about him. And something tell me you'll find out he ain't really for Black folks all like that. So anyway, let me see what y'all got to say. Thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully, none of this was too confusing as I didn't even know where to start, to be honest with you. When I started researching this, I was like, there's a lot here. There's a lot I didn't talk about because it's just a lot. So I understand why people, not white people, why people are confused when it comes to certain legislation and things like that to vote on, whether it's measures or whatever, because it is confusing. And we know, in a sense, it's made that way on purpose to be confusing. So I'll tell you, it took me a minute to kind of try to decipher exactly what it was about. All right, so let's see. Darlene, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brian, how you doing? Says, I don't even know the amount yet, and I know it isn't enough based on a contribution. He says inflation, interest, etc. Yeah, he said $5 million. If you harm my child, or due to some environmental things, I think I should get 5 million at least by myself. I got this like a class action. I've been involved in a few little class actions, and they say you're a part of the class action, like woohoo! All this money, you get your check. It's a funky $11.52. Because they're like, a lot of people, they got in the class action too, and it's like, y'all really could have kept that. Mr. Brewster, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. First class citizen, what's going on? Let's see. Joe Johns, what's up? He says, it's going to all Latinos that live there. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be some Black people, right? But to kind of put it like, this reparation, man, don't even call it that. Just say it's a class action or something, because I think he knew what he was doing when he said reparations, because that's where our mind goes, like, you mean Black folks finna get some money? But clearly that's not the case. Vicky, how you doing? Said, hell no to that fool. JJ, what's going on? She said, sound like some insincere smoke and mirror. He says, BS, Isaac is pushing as usual. Yeah, but see, a lot of people don't even know that he's doing that. Think about it. Traditionally, when you see a Black politician, especially talking about generations, my generation are probably older, we think, oh, they're Black. They're Black like me. And if they're Black like me, that means that they're going to do something for me. Yay. But of course, we know that's not the case, right? So he's able to do that because he knows a lot of people go by optics. Well, he's Black. He sounds Black. Talking Black, but he ain't walking Black. So you got to be doing all of that. So yeah. Vicky said cash payment reparation only. Yep. And like I said, I want some land and a mule. And Brian, you say, okay, so just like winning the lottery, are you taking the sum or are you taking the payments? And I don't want to see any predatory income taxes on it either. Yeah. Who knows, right? Again, he still got to go argue that or present it on March 1st. So it's just kind of wishful thinking at this point. Ain't no checks being printed off just yet. And then I'd imagine you got to figure out who exactly was harmed, unless they already know, right? So how long is that actually going to take to figure out what did you really live there? Are you just saying that, right? Gracie, how you doing? Says Boule. Okay. Mama Deb, what is going on with you? You say, yeah, you heard black and brown, right? So that question was answered just with that video. We could have just played that video and left early. Vicky says this is only being talked about again because of the midterms. Yeah. And that's what the message said to me, that because it's midterms and there were some people there who were asking, it's like, oh, okay, got some environmental reparations for you. Well, who is this you talking about? You know? Let's see. Gracie says, I don't trust none of these politicians. Yeah, you gotta vet them. You gotta, see what they talking about. You gotta dig deep in some cases, right? Because on the surface, they ain't gonna tell you everything. They ain't gonna tell you about all these alleged backroom deals they getting. The little white envelope, here you go. Go on and, keep that for your organization, right? Don't you got a nonprofit? Yeah, go ahead and get, and then they put in a nonprofit, I'm saying allegedly, right? And then they funnel all the way back to themselves. There was one case in Florida, Corrine Brown. She got in a lot of trouble. She went to jail. She's an older lady too, black lady, because she was misappropriating funds. Sounds like she was getting some funds and funneling it, and going to Beyonce concerts and all kind of stuff. It's like, why, Corrine, why? So that happens a lot, allegedly. Okay, lady T, how you doing? It says sings jazz. All right now. It says a sound like area, a settlement for environmental damage. In no way is this reparations lame. I agree with you, right? But those weren't my words. Those were his words, right? I just showed you what I saw. Albie Chill says he's got a smackable face. It's crazy. Charles, how you doing? Says please click on the like button. All right, yes, thank you for asking people to click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I forgot to put this back up there. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Here it is. We got an app too, but thank you. Appreciate you for that. Oh, okay, so here we go. I lost my place because here we go. And Christopher says, that's why I am glad I left Cali. Yeah, I left Cali too. I want to go back. I miss Cali. Ain't no place like it. I swear it ain't. Weather, everything, but it's really expensive, honestly. It's really expensive. So yeah, Brother Salam, how you doing? Says I'm in Pasadena, California right now. And how's that working out for you? Pasadena is really beautiful real estate. It really is. It's like an older part of Los Angeles, right? Alonzo, how you doing? And thank you so much. Love it. Appreciate you for that. He says, I'm late, not in Cali. Had to show support. Love you, dear. Always listen. Well, I love you too. And thank you so much for that. It is really much appreciated. So let's see. Justin, how you doing? Says CBC, Congressional Black Caucus ain't nothing but a bunch of step and fetches. And if you don't know who Step and Fetch it is, I suggest you go look. Lincoln Perry is his name, or it was anyway. I always tell people, study Lincoln Perry, Step and Fetch It. Study, because he was the first black millionaire actor in America. But look at the roles that he was portraying. His moniker was the laziest man in the world, and it was given to him by them folks, right? The laziest man in the world. And he, I don't know why I can't read. That's how he was doing it, really. And then when it was all said and done, when the folks was like, okay, that's enough, we're moving on, he was left broke, an alcoholic, and black folks was like, well, we forgive you, but we really ain't messing with you like that because we told you to stop doing that. Kind of like what some people are saying, Nicki Minaj and a whole lot of other people are doing. We told you to stop doing that, right? And now that they're done with you want us to take you back. And some, black folks did, but not, it just wasn't the same. And, he had to deal with a lot due to taking all that money to portray being the laziest man in the world, because Black organizations and Black people were like, you're sending that message all over the world, making people think that this is how we all act. I mean, if you ever see it, it's sad that he thought that, that's what he should be doing. I don't even know. I went off on that tangent, but yeah, I see where you're going with that. Let's see. Brian says, then they're going to start confusing these reparations with the actual slave reparation. That's by design. I think the confusion is by design. Keep everybody confused so they don't know what is going on. But again, if you just read that, and then if Queen of LA didn't ask him that question, I've even seen some people say, oh, yay, about time. But she asked him and he didn't even answer the doggone question. He danced around the question. Arinika, I hope I said that right. How you doing? Says, just so they could say, I want reparations for the Black community. We can read, yeah, but is it just for the Black community? As I think I illustrated, basically, no, it's not just for the Black community. It's for everybody who was harmed by that. And it wasn't just Black people who lived there, because some people have moved away. Primo, how you doing? Says, shucking and jiving, shaking my head. Yeah. Beats by Dizzy, how you doing? I love you too. Yes, I do. Ooh, I'm so happy to see you. Mama Deb says, deception, to use the word red line as well. Yeah, because what are we doing here? But again, most people won't even research. They just see reparations and but now you got to stop and ask questions. I thank you so much for the super sticker. Love and appreciate you for that. I don't want to say your name wrong, so I'm gonna try to pronounce it. Quet Cabas. Did I say that right? If I didn't, please forgive me. But nevertheless, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes, indeed. Magazine OG, how you doing? Says 71 babies have that real info. Yeah, I'm a 71 baby. I'll be 55 this year. My God, I'm old. Literally, like I was just 21 yesterday. But yeah. Brood, Brood, how you doing? It says traders and overseers. Interesting. And see, Albert Chill says they always use manipulative linguistics to trigger our emotions, bypass our alarm system via our subconscious mind. Yeah, because we just take them at their word, right? And at Quet Cabas, you say we need to think for ourselves. That is the message. Alonzo, thank you once again for that. Love and appreciate you. Says the oil executive pay $5 million for a shoe shine. Hell, I'm 65. I'm so tired of these deceptive politicians, and my whole generation of baby boomers just tired. Yeah, you got to remember too, the baby boomers, they are a lot of them that are still here anyway from the civil rights era, so they learned that moving away from your own people and being able to move into white neighborhoods and eat in restaurants and send your kids to school to be spat upon and cussed out and all that, they thought that was true civil rights, and we've made it right. So in a lot of cases you still hear a lot of baby boomers like, what else do you want? Why y'all always complaining? Why don't y'all just vote? You don't never vote. And to that, baby boomers do vote more than everybody else. So if you think about them voting more than everybody else, they're voting from their wheelhouse of civil rights, because they feel like we marched and we voted and we got somewhere, right? We got civil rights, which has been hijacked, right? Because even when they were fighting for it, it was for Black Americans. But now everybody else uses it. So even with that, they're like, just vote. We're happy. We can live wherever we want. We can eat wherever we want, send our kids to their schools. What else do you want? And then when we got Barack Obama, oh man, that was icing on the cake. It's like, we don't ever need to ask for nothing else. We've made it. That was the illusion, right? So, but they vote the most. Well, the rest of us got to show up and say, yeah, we're going to counter that. We're going to counter with the foolishness you've been voting for. And I don't want to be disrespectful to baby boomers, because I feel like they did the best they can, or could rather, with the information that they had. But it's just time for some fresh ideas to come about. That's why I say I like that younger people are running because we need them in office. William, how you doing? Says they have had over 400 years. And who is this they talking about to do what? No reparation, no vote. How you doing? It says top of it, you're working out, it's paying off. Oh, you seeing me working out? I post pictures every once in a while, of my progress from the gym. Yeah, turning 55. I gotta I can't get stiff. I gotta keep moving. But thank you. I appreciate that. Bakari, how you doing? Says the black politicians are sellouts and treasonous. Yeah, I think you make a great point. Coupon Nation, how you doing? Says black politicians are absolute sellout. He says 99.9% of them do nothing for black Americans. They are just like the puppet leaders in Africa. Yeah, I hear Brother Phil talk about that a lot. How the politicians in Africa kind of mirror the behavior of the politicians here, because he's a little bit more, well, he's a lot more well-versed of African politics than I am. I just kind of hear about things here and there. But from what I hear, yeah, it's kind of the same. I sell out to, the power structure, which is weird when you think about the continent. The power structure is like, shouldn't that be black people? Since there's more of them there, I don't know. So yeah. Great Ethiopia, how you doing? It says I will send you full evidence, and I'm sorry, full evidence. And I didn't. If you made another comment, I didn't see what that's regards to. But what is that in regards to? Jen, how you doing? It says they're innocent. They did not sabotage anything. Whoa. It says a political pawn failed to deliver. Hence the reason why the bill was pulled. See, when I hear that the bill was pulled, why didn't they tell the people that was in the lobby, the black folks that was under the impression that they were going to put those bills forward? Why didn't one of them come out and say, oh, we decided that there was something wrong with it, so we're going to pull the bills? See, that's a lie. I believe that. I don't want to call you a liar. I was told not to call people names and things, but it sounds like a lie to me. It sounds like some backtracking. Sounds like, oops, we were caught. And so now we got to kind of say, well, there was something wrong with it. And why you didn't go out there and tell those people that was waiting? I know African Town Coalition drove all the way from Southern California up north to attend that meeting. Why y'all didn't tell them that? Why y'all didn't say there was something wrong with the bill? It's just a lie. It was never going to go forward anyway. Now, the committee probably thought that, right? Camila Morris and all that. They probably thought that it was. Stephen Bradford, the senator, he's termed out. They probably thought maybe it was going to go forward. But did they know about the sabotaging? Some tell me they didn't. I think the sabotaging took place with the California Legislative Black Caucus, right, or whatever it was, some of them, and they were never going to do it. And then it came, I heard chairwoman Lori Wilson at the time, well, it's a multi-year study. It's like, if you don't. And I agree with that sister that said, hey, your homegirl gonna pay for this. And that homegirl was Kamala Harris. When they found out what they did to them, so don't do that. Because what you do is you insult the intelligence of people who were there hoping that those bills were going to at least be presented. At least have Gavin Newsom say, no, I don't want to do it. But to just not do, you pulled it. It's a lie. So stop that. Unless you can prove me wrong. Like, I want to see where it says, oh, we're going to pull it. But you didn't tell those people. Come on now. Don't do that. My Lord. Aquatic Cobbles, you say they look out for everyone but us, and this land is ours. Yep. Kirk, how you doing? Says reparations is dancing in the blood of our ancestors, and don't ever get it twisted. And that won't happen until our king returns. Trusting in the enemy to make you whole again is insane. Well, I agree with most of that. We should be doing for self, right? There's a lot of things that we can do, but we want our money. We want our reparations. It's non-negotiable. It's not, well, we fought long enough and you just don't want to, you gonna give it to us. Right? And if you understand and you believe, if you've ever read this book by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, The Fall of America, if you believe anything and every word in this book, they got to pay for the original sin of slavery, right? As he said in here, watch the weather. And we've seen some funky weather going forward, okay? So that's that. They don't have a choice whether they want to pay it. You gonna pay it. So yeah, but we should be doing for self. So I totally agree with you with that. And that's a whole nother conversation. Perry, how you doing? Says, I thought there was a black coalition that had established the minimal criteria acceptable for slavery reparation bill. Yeah, that was the one that decided they was going to sit on their hands and the bills and not present it at all. California Legislative Black Caucus. They were supposed to do it, but then they got caught. Caught. I just showed y'all the video. I show it all the time, and I'm gonna keep showing it so that y'all can see Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, like a deer in headlights and mad because he got caught. I'm gonna keep showing it. I don't care if he like it or not. Make me stop showing it. You know what I mean? Thank you once again for that. I love all the donation. Every little bit helps this channel to continue to spread the knowledge and everything else in between. So thank you, Corey. How you doing? Let's see. Let me skip down just a little bit. Golden Crown, how you doing? Gold Crown, right? It says smackable. Yeah, what's up with that? No reparation, no vote, says Corinne is from Duval. Duval says she has been over her district for more than 30 years and nothing has changed. I don't think she over it no more, right? Because she did a little time in prison. Sad. Sad. Hunter, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Cute Mallory, I hope I said that right. It says FBA reparations, equal reparations. Yes, indeed. We got to have our money. Albert says, "Oh, you're not old, Demetra. You're seasoned, right? Like age, like age, cheese and wine." My daughter, she likes to keep me humble. Sometimes people say, "Yeah, you all look like sisters." No, we don't. That's my mom. I'm like, stop lying to them. We're sisters. So she humbles me a lot. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Sister Shirley says, I wish I was 55. This age is just a number. It honestly is. I know you told me your age before, but it's just a number. We're really babies in the larger scheme of things. 80s, 90s, you're still a baby. Honestly, it said with the technology and stuff that's going forward today, we should live to be 120 years old. Some people are, starting to live, I don't know about 120, but they're up there. So we just got to act right, do right, eat right, sleep right, all the other things in between. Well, thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that. Chef X Ali, how you doing? Peace on to you as well. It says from Oklahoma City. Okay, Sister Sunlight, how you doing? It says, I'll do it for you, liar. I try to be as nice as I can on here. Sometimes I don't always succeed, but yeah, I just don't understand even and Jen, you say it's not a lie. Well, don't play with me. Okay. Stop playing with me. It is a lie. It was something wrong with the bill. So you mean to tell me, because what you're doing by saying there was something wrong with the bill and they have to pull it, is that the committee that's did this study, right? They paid millions of dollars for this committee. What you're saying is that they actually made a mistake and that the money they spent for this committee was wasted money. If they found a problem with it, this wasn't like a 2-day study. It was a couple of years that they studied. This commission got together. And so what you're saying is that they actually made a mistake. And so what you're doing is slapping them in the face. Why? Why are you trying to protect them? When I say them, the California Legislative Black Caucus. What's in it for you to protect them? Because what you're doing is you're actually harming people who could have used that money. There's been a lot of harm done to Black Californians, and you up in here talking about, it was a reason they did it. What was the reason? And why didn't they tell people ahead of time? I'm just asking. Berta, how you doing? Says we FBA Black all day. Happy Black History Month, my beautiful Black people. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. For her good. How you doing? Blessings to you as well. Well, thank you. I shall. Stephen, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Salam says, Sister Demetra, thank you for that. Thank you. Much appreciated. Let's see. Bertie says foot to outsiders. Yes. Albert Chill says he don't want those FOI problems. I don't think nobody wants that, And thank you once again. You must have hit the lotto. Did you get a part of that $5 million that Isaac Bryan was that he's promising? But no, seriously, thank you so much. It really does help the channel continue doing what we're doing. And Jen, you say one day you will rewatch this video and will be embarrassed by your ignorance. You're being You know what just came in my head? Who sent you? Who sent you? Was it Isaac? Who sent you? I mean, I'm just telling you what I saw. You could Google all this stuff. It ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. So you calling me a liar, prove me to be a liar. And I'll retract everything I said. I trust me, I've studied the sabotaging that went on there in California. I've studied it. And it's disingenuous for you to get up in here talking about, oh, well, they actually found something was wrong with it. Well, again, why didn't, and then I don't know the name of the assembly member, but that was going like that. Was that a lie too? He was, mocking the people in there. After they were mad and they found out that they sabotaged the bill. What was that about? Why did he need to do that? And again, politicians talking about, oh, we're being transparent. We want to always operate with transparency. Why you didn't tell them people that we found something wrong with the bill? I know y'all drove. Listen, I've driven to Sacramento before from Southern California. That is not a short ride. Okay. It's like over an 8-hour drive. So why didn't you inform people before they took that long drive? People came from all over California to, see what was going to happen. Y'all saw the footage. Why not tell them? See, you up here lying. And I believe that you were sent to do that. That's okay. I got time. I got time today. Sergeant King, what's going on with you? Yeah, good diet is key. We got especially us, right? We have to watch our diet. It said that when somebody told me, I got to actually do my own research, that the life expectancy of a Black man is now 64 years old and a Black woman is 69. Again, I'm going to do my research on that. But when I heard that, I was like, what? We're going backwards. We're not supposed to be going backwards. We should be living at least to 100, right? All of us could talk about the centurions in our family, right? I have centurions or nearly centurions, like 99 years old, right? So we'll call them that on both sides of my family. But of course, that's like my great grandparents, right? And then from them, the lifespan, gets shorter. It's not supposed to do that. With all this technology and knowledge and things that we got going on, we shouldn't be going backwards. So yeah, eat right, get up off your behind, go outside, walk 30 minutes, go to the gym, whatever it is, even if you got to run around your living room, do some jumping jacks, whatever, lift weights, whatever. There's no excuses. Get up. I mean, otherwise you're just rotting. You're rotting to death. And it doesn't have to be that way. So absolutely. Bridget, how you doing? So the Democrats, they never want to support Black people because they already abandoned them years ago and they ain't going to back to us, and we shouldn't go back to them either. Sketch Boy, how you doing? Says, do you feel like everything that's going on in the country now is a new start for us indigenous Black people here in America? I do. I really do. I think we're having our eyes forced open again by the Trump administration, his second term. We're learning a lot of things, and we're learning more so from the messages that we have gotten from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Dr. Claude Anderson, everybody else, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that we need to do for self. We're really seeing that live and in living color. Like, oh yeah, we need to be doing for self, because whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, they don't mean us any earthly good, but we got the power to take care of us. Absolutely. Says not all for my ancestors. And first class citizen, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm gonna do my best to keep y'all all posted. But listen, I am out. It sounds like you're crazy. I am out of time. Time sure does go by fast, but I'll be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time with another good topic. What I'll talk about, I don't know, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. But in the meantime, y'all have a great rest of your day. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all for liking, subscribing, donating, just being you, right? Peace. Hey, Buck.